Hi, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about thread and how thread relates to bag making. Not all threads are the same, and there are different kinds of weights and types of materials that thread are made in. So I'd like to go into those little bit of details to give you a better idea of what kinds of threads you should be considering when making bags. When selecting thread, there are just three things that you need to know about. There's going to be weight, the type of material, and text. So let's go through those. Weight is normally what you would see more on the American side of things. When you pick up thread at a craft store, you'll see that an all-purpose thread is considered to be 40 weight. Now with weight, the higher the number, the thinner the thread actually goes. And so for those of you who are familiar with embroidery, usually bobbin thread is closer to 60 weight, or if you need to do smaller text, you get 60 weight embroidery floss, as opposed to the 40 weight because it's too thick, right? Well, when you want to start making bags, one of the things you should strongly consider is using a more upholstery style thicker thread. So something more like a jeans weight, which is 30 weight, or upholstery, which is 20 weight. Now these types of measurements are on threads that you can buy in any kind of domestic store. One of the things you won't find is thread that has the TEX designation. So TEX is basically a way of determining the thickness and the mass per grams that you would find in the thread. It determines how strong that thread is, not just the weight of the thread, but its textile strength. So when making bags, if you go into threads that are much thicker, like a TEX designated thread, meaning TEX 70 or TEX 90, then you'll have a thread that is capable of holding anywhere from 6 to 10 stitches, pounds, 6 to 10 pounds per stitch, which is super important. Now, when you're making small bags, this isn't really a big deal, but if you are like me and you start venturing to larger bags like duffel bags or backpacks, for example, that's when you need to start paying attention. So let's go into story time. So about a year ago, I made my first full-size backpack. I sent it to the client and it broke. First time out of the house, she pulled on the straps and one of the straps snapped right off. She sent me pictures, which I'll show you here. This is my shame. So basically what happened was the cotton thread couldn't handle the weight of what was in the bag and the pull that she was giving on the strap, which you would expect any backpack to be able to handle, and it snapped. This is because I used a 40 weight cotton thread on a full-size backpack. Bad idea. So instead, what I started to do is I started to look into TEX 70 and TEX 90 threads. So this is an important aspect of what I need to explain to you guys. So then there's material. So there's cotton, which is your typical all-purpose thread. But then there's nylon and polyester. Nylon tends to be stronger than polyester, but both are perfectly fine. So I usually buy TEX 70 nylon, and it's bonded nylon. And then there's also TEX 90 polyester, and it's bonded polyester. The textile strength of these threads are much stronger and capable of handling the weight that people put on bags. Now, if you're making small bags, this is not going to be a problem for you. But if you're moving into like backpacks, duffel bags, etc., you're probably going to want to consider looking into these kinds of threads. Now, the caveat, if you're on a domestic machine, your bobbin is not large enough to handle these larger threads. So unfortunately, the only option you're going to have is to put an upholstery thread in the bobbin and then use the TEX 70 or TEX 90 thread in your upper thread. You're perfectly capable of using it in the upper thread. You just need to make sure you have a large enough needle that the thread can easily pass through the eye. So you're looking at like a jeans or denim needle, size 16 or higher. So I tend to use 16 or 18 depending on the job that I'm doing with my domestic machine. Now, the reason you don't want to use these threads, like these cotton threads, in a industrial machine is because of the high power tension that they're being dragged through. So an industrial machine is a lot harder on the thread than you would think. It's dragging this thread through at a much higher RPM and a much higher tension and torque. So cotton thread has a tendency to break down under these conditions. If you're using an industrial machine to make bags, I highly implore you to start looking at Tex 70 or Tex 90 bonded polyester or bonded nylon threads. So let's go through a quick demonstration of what these threads look like and what your options are. Okay, so over here at my machine, I'm using this camera not necessarily as a demonstration on industrial machines, but because it is a camcorder and I can zoom way in. So this will give you a better view of the threads. So here we have a standard 40 weight cotton. Yeah, it's a pretty color. Wow, it's really zoomed in. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up against the plate so you can see it a little better. Do you see the fuzz that is showing up on that cotton thread? So just like any cotton fabric, this has a tendency to fray. So what you'll see oftentimes when you're running these through the machines is it wears it down just a little bit and it can weaken the thread only a smidge. It's not a big a deal when you're using your domestic machines, but on an industrial machine, this is pretty intense. So this is a lot thinner. Now I'm gonna grab this is a Tex 90 polyester. And you can already see how much thicker it is than the 40 weight cotton thread. It doesn't fray. However, what I will tell you about the polyester thread is it has a tendency to unspiral at the end. You see this? See how it's splitting at the end? Isn't that crazy? Okay, so the way that a lot of people get around this is they have to burn it. So either get a lighter and just like burn it. Some people keep a candle in the room. Or I actually love to use a thread zapper. So I've got this little thread zapper tool that I use, and it's actually called it's the Beadsmith. There you go. Look, product placement. But you can take this and it's got a little hot tip at the end and you just burn it off. And what that'll do is that seals the end. Kind of like when you're trying to, seals the end. Haha, I meant to keep that in view. There you go. Let's do that again just for, posterity's sake. Don't burn yourself, just burn the thread. I'm trying to do this one-handed. That's not the best, but see, it'll burn the end, so it's all sealed off, kind of like what you would do to Velcro, zipper tape, etc. Okay, now, on the flip side, you have Tex 70 nylon. Nylon tends to be a little more stiff, a little more, I guess, well, this is a rainbow nylon. I'm just showing you what I got. But the nylon thread, this is actually a Tex 70 nylon. Whereas, such as this is actually a Tex 90 polyester. The polyester has a higher sheen on it, so it looks really nice for top stitching, but the nylon is actually a lot stronger, even at Tex 70. So, and the same deal with the Tex, with the nylon, you typically cut it with one of those thread zapping tools, just like that. So that's how I free it. The other thing you can do is you can just clip the end like that, and you can take this and just touch it very lightly to the end. See the smoke coming off? And that'll seal off the end. The nylon has less of a tendency to fray and unravel, but you still probably should do this just as a good habit of tying off your thread. So just as a quick demonstration, this is a wallet that I had made over the weekend. And this right here is the top stitching from that nylon. It is extremely bold. So from one aspect of it is just the tactile strength that you get from using these heavier weight threads, right? But also it makes beautiful top stitching. Well, aside from this being the highly coveted rainbow thread from Sunny's, it's gorgeous. It stands out. Woo! There we go. Yep. I love this camera. I really do. Nope. It's having issues. Yep. Are we back? Cool. I'm just going to slide that out of the way and get back to talking about thread. So there it is. Thank you so much. I hope this video was helpful to you understanding the 3 pillars of thread selection by understanding the weight, the materials, and the Tech's value and what that means to you in selecting thread for your bag making experiences. Again, if you're using smaller bags, don't worry about it. You're fine with a 40 weight cotton. As you venture forward and you want to make bigger bags, try to consider using something closer to an upholstery weight thread if you need to stick to a domestic machine, or even look into trying some of these Tech 70 and Tech 90 threads. Thank you so much. Please feel free to like and subscribe and leave comments below on what kinds of content you would like to see on the channel. Bye.